final act of this 25-year celebration is coming on shortly. We hope you're back with us in another 25 years. Somewhere anyway. As they say, it's good to be here in Merton. At our age, it's good to be anywhere. So thank you very much. Now, our last act, Project Adorno, are just getting ready to go up to Edinburgh. They're performing in the Paradise at the Vault from the 12th to the 17th of August. They go up to Edinburgh pretty much every year, and they've been performing Dodo for many years too. In fact, I've known Russell since the early 90s, I think, when we turned up at arts festivals together in the locality. Praveen joined a bit later, I believe, but we're delighted to have them here. The piece they're doing at Edinburgh is called Jarman in Pieces. It's obviously about Derek Jarman, and so it's an ambient electro-pop celebration of UK cinema's enfant terrible, or enfant terrible, okay? Somebody can translate that later on, it'd be fantastic. Now, here they are. Without any more ado, I think they're somewhere around. Please welcome Project Adorno!
Yeah, just like, do you like the new look? Do we need to move? You want that or you don't?
Merton Abbey Mills, not as good as it was 20 years ago, but trying hard.
We will be ready. So the roadies didn't do their job, but never mind. Thank you very much to Patrick. Just to say to Sue, of course, Evan Davis is taking over from Paxman, so we're quite pleased about that. And that's a sort of link, really, to Derek Jarman in a strange kind of way. So we're doing this thing about Derek Jarman, and Jarman in Pieces is a Cubist biography, and we'll do a few pieces from that, basically. We'll start bringing the iPod up a little bit, I reckon.
As in the word shaman, the last three letters don't mean man. Jarman meaning German, from the Latin Germanicus, itself meaning neighbours, people we're connected to through shared borders. Germain, the woman's name, Germain, the man's name, Germain meaning relevant, pertinent to, cousin German, sister German, Germain meaning seed, a thing that germinates. When Macbeth speaks of nature's Germans, seeds are what he means. Like germ, one syllable, wheat germ, or the other sort, the sand in the spinach, the first passing mention at the bottom of a column buried deep inside the newspaper. Jarman, a name in paint, in print, projected on a screen, or carved in stone. The last one, no more permanent, it seems, than any of the others. Not out of sight of Dover, he's already half colonial in oilskins and a wide-brimmed hat. He frowns all brown against the gale. She's bonneted Madonna, come a scarf blown horizontal, pointing back the way they've come. The pinkest thing in all, the pinkest thing in all, Victorian England. 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 Combined effects of rain and sun neutralise the roseate and blanch all minds of blighty from the third of this triumvirate. A child whose will for 6/160 inside of a wall and shawl, and lullaby some passengers nostalgic for the musical. Pinkest thing in all, Victorian England. The pinkest thing in all, Victorian England. The pinkest thing in all, Victorian England. The pinkest thing in all, Victorian England. Pinkest thing.
rock and roll. Obviously when we do this in Edinburgh, we're going to have a sort of segue of things. We're doing little discrete pieces here. This next one is something else, okay. So, diaries. I first read Derek Jarman's diaries some 20 years ago. They were a blueprint for inspiration in those early days when my brother and I were starting to write songs and make Super 8 films without really knowing what we were doing or why we were doing them. It was us against the world back then, and Jarman seemed to put it all into focus, legitimising and galvanising those first creative stirrings.
The charming thing was, you always had those books. I remember Derek, you always had to find a book. Usually handmade paper, and that was the book, that was what then started everything off.
In December, the doctor, who told me the news, seemed distressed and slightly dismayed. I told her not to worry, because I'd never been partial to Christmas much anyway. And now, trudging through autumn leaves, I believe this is the last pair of shoes I'll wear. These could be the last words that I write on this page, at which I stare, recalling memories, as if it was just yesterday. Filming the trains in the rush hour again, Super 8 frame rate, ready to roll, reading your diaries from the early 90s. Editing film there in your back bedroom, Super 8 frame rate, let the good times roll. A cold, hazy day with barely a glimmer of sunlight through the trees. I wrapped myself up and set to work in the garden, planting lavender and poppy seeds. Hear the whir of the Super 8 machines and see the attics on the cutting room floor. This could be the last thing, could be the last thing you saw, recalling memories, as if it was just yesterday. Or filming the trains in the rush hour again, Super 8 frame rate, ready to roll, reading your diary from the early 90s. Well, we read them again and hear a different refrain. Wide angle zoom, still shooting to kill, recalling memories, welling up inside of me. All the clauses of law, slamming shut all the doors. Get through it all, wait still, let the good times roll. Some 20 years later I reread John's diaries and I was struck by the honesty and the anger and the self-deprecating humour. He was a man driven, inspired and enthusiastic despite all the odds against him. It brought back many memories, and I often find myself recalling those lines from his diaries as I go about my daily life.
The charming thing was, you always had those books. I remember Derek, you always had to find a book. Usually handmade paper, and that was the book, that was what then started everything off. You then write in the book, and that began the process.
The memories, eh? The memories. Thank you very much. We like to share. So now we're going to move on to a bit about London, aren't we? And
yes, we are. Yeah.
We've got a bit of dedication, or are we not going to? We're not going to mention that bit. Or you just wanted to do it as is.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Jarman lived for many years in London, and this is about a particular element of those times.
painting is one that, at the end of the 3 years of our general arts degree, Dodo was at the Slade at the time, and at the end of the course, he just said, does anybody want any of my pictures? And he'd asked for my tennis racket, so I gave him my tennis racket and a picture in exchange. So I was rather pleased with that. I didn't treat it with an awful lot of respect. I chose this one particularly because it reminded me of Waterloo, and also because it reminded me of his energy. I saw him doing some of his paintings in his flat, and he did black lines with terrific gusto, and everything he did was always so energised. Everything he did was always so energised.
We crisscross town like searchlights, finding intersections where we can. We're Leonardo people, filling undercrofts and arches with our outstretched hands. And we turn our backs on bomb sites and the cabbage smells of hard-won victory. And we move towards the South Bank and the silence of the London snow. We're the points of light in London in the 1960s. And we're thrifty, and we've got so far to go. We put on our flamboyance, knot it round our necks, use it to buff our shoes. Stop short of ostentation, they still allow us into private views. We're the nameless end result of 2 millennia of history. We're the flash of colour in a passing woman's Jackmar scarf. We're the points of light in London in the 1960s. And we're gifted, and we know too much by heart.
Lines with terrific gusto, and everything he did was always so energised. And those straight lines, I see those as lights, and that makes it a Waterloo Bridge and reflection. So I was rather pleased with that. I didn't treat it with an awful lot of respect, I might say. I used it as a fire screen in my flat in Battersea.
Something you may recognise as
Thank you,
Anne Williams. And we've used the visual, which we haven't got tonight, but it's the painting that Anne refers to takes centre stage. It's a really good painting as well. So we're very, part of this project has been to talk to people, and we've gathered up so many hours of audio stuff, haven't we, and visual stuff. And it's been impossible to include everything, but we did really like some of the stuff that Anne was talking about. I'm definitely forgetting what we're doing next. I think is it the fated Super 8 thing?
I think it is the fated Super 8 thing.
On Thursday we did a little preview thingy down at Rhythm and Muse in Keystone, and I did a little long preamble for this thing about Super 8, and then I realised that the song for some reason hadn't transferred onto the iPod, so it kind of made it. So I was determined to do it today. Super 8, yes. Obviously Derek Jarman was very much in making the Super 8 films, and one of the entry points for me with Derek Jarman was Super 8. Me and my brother, as I referenced in that other song, we loved the Super 8, and so what I've done here is just done a little recollection of those days when me and my brother used to play around with the Super 8, and it's all because of my brother really, as will become evident in this piece. Super 8. One. Well, I'll never forget forget the day my brother came home with a Super 8 camera. He said, we're going to make a film in the style of Derek Jarman. Well, I said, Derek what? Derek who? Because he showed me how to point, shoot from zoom, and he pressed a little button and it all went Charlie Chaplin. Or was it Buster Keaton? I never remember. We'd splice and edit all day long, film boats on the river all chugging along, love the clatter and the whir as the springs all sprang and the sprockets and the widgets and the cogs all spun. We'd splice and edit all day long, film boats on the river all chugging along, love the look and the feel of the black and white reel and the grainy texture. From that very first day, I must confess, I was hooked on all this Super 8. I've got all the jungle books I could find from the local library. Yeah, we made our very first feature film in the spirit of meshes of the afternoon, like a Chien Andalou up and well and down Salvador Dali. We'd splice and edit all day long, film boats on the river all chugging along, love the clatter and the whir, the springs all sprung, and the sprockets and the widgets and the cogs all spun. We'd splice and edit all day long, film boats on the river all chugging along, love the look and the feel of the black and white reel and the grainy texture. Years went by, and just when I thought we'd get Super 9, it all went digital somewhere in the 90s. Yeah, they don't really do Super 8 no more, and you may call us dinosaurs, but the thrill of the 8mm film will never leave us. It's ingrained in our veins forever and a day called love us. We'll carry on splicing all day long, film boats on the river all chugging along, and the clatter and the whir, the springs all sprung and the grainy texture. We'll dust down the camera, get a flat foot board, and a director's chair, a big ball hall. We'll call all the shots and we'll shout out loud, cut and action. Yeah, the years have been and gone, all while we'll shoot some film in the old school style. Now we're making Super 8 movies for the over 40s. The years may have older. We've still got a bit of Super 8 in this piece, haven't we?
Oh yes.
We were using the Super 8.
Yeah.
It costs a fortune now to get Super 8 film developed. It is actually better to use it on do it on an iPhone, put it into your computer, make it look like Super 8. So there you go. And that's what we've done as well. Okay, obviously Dungeness, big theme. You have to imagine a vista behind us of Dungeness. We're going to, in a minute, we'll do a piece about the Dungeonettes, who are the sort of the waifs and the strays and the people that used to hang around Dungeness with Derek Jarman. But before that,
We start off with an excerpt from a Victorian novel.
we do.
It seemed to Jack that he was at sea, the way that the vessel pitched and tossed and tacked beneath him, and the gulls cried and cawed and yammered overhead. In that sea he should have remained, had not one gull detached itself from the flock, swooped close to his ear, and squawked, "Ahoy there!" He woke with a start and sat up. He was not at sea, and yet he was unsure as to whether his environs could be dignified by the word land either. He was still on the back of the carrier's cart, which now stood becalmed amidst an expanse of flat grey stones, which resembled, if a boy may leave aside aspirations of green cheese, the surface of the moon. "Ahoy there, this omnibus don't go no further." The seagull had transmuted into a grey carrier in a grey hat, patting the flank of a grey nag with her nose in a grey nose bag. "Old Jen, she don't go no further, young sir. Poor hoofs slipping and a-sliding on these here stones. And to tell the truth, I'm not sure I could do no better myself without my backstays here." He raised a grey leg, and Jack saw that he had a short plank of wood strapped to each foot, such as a Laplander might wear to traverse the snowy wastes beyond his front door. Where is this place, sir?" stammered Jack. Far from being barren, as he had at first supposed, the vista was dotted with sprigs of yellow broom and pink foxgloves. It seemed to grow buildings also, for he discerned here and there an outlandish hut of wooden design, standing all ways and any ways, defying gravity to return it to the horizontal. "Well, young sir, some calls it the denge, some calls it the dunge. 'Tis a matter of taste or hinclination, as I understand it. But most folk this side of Maidstone Jail do just call it the Ness, pure and simple." "It's a most peculiar place, sir," said Jack. "That is to say, a most fascinating peculiar place." The carrier removed his hat, rotated it through a half-turn, and reconciled it to his grey head. "'Tis a geological marvel, that's what it be. I met a gentleman here once. taking bearings for them as makes the maps, who tell me that the nest do grow a little closer to France every year. So by my reckoning, we soon be able to shake hands with King Napoleon without getting our toes wet. A grey hand was offered in valediction. Welcome, young sir, to the 5th quarter of the globe. Welcome to Dungeness.
And then, boom, Dungeness was a done and dusted, wonderful thing. And of course, if you look at Dungeness, when you look at Derrick's paintings, you know, it's like he's just moved into one of his paintings.
We've got Jack boys and boot boys and shy boys and lady boys and hard men singing lullabies and soft-spoken mummies boys. Well, they all come my way for a cup of tea and a gander and dear old Derrick's garden. So dapper, much dandier, we call them the Dungeonettes. God bless the Dungeonettes in their fishnets all wet, like the upturned wooden boats on the Ness. Well, I don't mind all the tourists, I guess. I just wish they wouldn't leave the place in such a mess. We've got tough boys and rough boys and disco dancing petrol boys and lost boys and posh boys and narcissistic Nazi boys. Well, they all come my way for a cup of tea and a natter with a maverick mad hatter. I'm an avant-garde kind of gardener. We call them the Dungeonettes. The waifs and the strays and the misunderstood feeling wrecked, like the upturned wooden boats on the Ness. If you want to stop by, please be my guest, but I beg you not to leave the place in such a mess. Well, out on the rockery, planting my rosemary, deep yellow bacon and eggs, pottering philosophically, pondering my apocalypse, wondering if this government will ever make much sense. Well, they call them the Dungeonettes. God bless the Dungeonettes in their fishnets all wrecked. Oh.
I think we're just about up to time.
Are we up to time, Patrick, or one more?
Let's finish off with one.
Two more, one more. Just
Go
three
out
more,
while
two
you're
more.
ahead.
Should we just do? Let's do one more.
Yeah, let's just do
And-
one more.
And should we do?
Let's do one from the that pile down there.
That pile
Okay.
down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Well, that's
yeah.
just giving you a little flavour. As I say, we're doing a whole thing in Edinburgh with video and stuff as well. So if anyone you know, if you or anyone you know is coming up to Edinburgh, do let them know. We're there from, what's the run? 12th to the 17th?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think by the end of the run we'll be alright with it. Thank you.
Don't give too much in the rehearsal.
Thank you to Patrick for tonight and for inviting us and for 25 years. That's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I think it's deserved. Yeah. I'm trying to remember when I did actually first meet Patrick and Sue, and I think it was they used to do things in that sort of colour house, that long shop thing or whatever it was called, the glass house, whatever. And I remember, or was it? Oh, I can't remember. It's back in early 90s, I think. Anyway, right. Well, thank you very much. We're doing one more, and it's just a bit of an old favourite, really, that we like to do, a coming of age song. We've joined the National Trust. Well, it simply was a must. Oh, when
when you've reached that certain age, something deep inside you nods at you and says, yeah, it's time to join the National Trust. Something to spice our weekends up. A drive out on into the country, excited by the sight of every round road sign we see. Yeah, we'll join the National Trust. We're into preservation and all that stuff. We've done our bit for charity. Now members of the largest land-owning aristocracy, and all those great one-listed buildings suddenly seem so very appealing. Full of butter cake and a cup of Darjeeling, and a quick look round the shop. A walk round the garden has a whole new meaning. Walking sticks supplied if you need them. Then a slice of cake and a big pot of tea, and a quick look round the shop. National Trust, now part of that exclusive club. We're feeling middle class and slightly smug. Next week it's English heritage, we've been bitten by the bug. Yeah, we'll join the National Trust, enjoying architecture and rare shrubs, far from the madding crowds. We're the coach load of pensioners all on adventure bound inside that shop. There's jars of jam and potpourri in pots, and lots of organic free-range clotted green fudge, and a set of 6 coasters, all with matching mugs. And all those great one-listed buildings suddenly seem so very appealing. Full of butter cake and a cup of Darjeeling, and a quick look round the shop. A walk round the garden with a big fat plum, 3 million members can't be wrong. Then a big slice of Victoria sponge and a quick look round the shop. When festivals at Reading seem such a bore, when camping down the Glastonbury, such a chore, when clubbing doesn't do it for you anymore, it's time to seek and find the National Trust. That's where you'll soon be finding us, putting the youngsters in the shade. It's our demographic rite of passage. Well, what do you say, the National Trust?
That's where you'll find us.
The National Trust.
Come down and join
Yeah,
us.
the National Trust.
No rumpus, no fuss.
We've got the tweed and the waves. We've joined the National Trust. Half price we joined today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wasn't that gobsmackingly brilliant? More applause, please, for a wonderful project Adorno. We wish them every success in Edinburgh, so please get along there if you can. And just to say that Dodo Modern Poets will be back at the Poetry Cafe in September, but I now want to make the microphone not work. I now want to ask you to thank once again all the performers we've had on tonight. So please put your hands together once again for Sue Johns, Adele Jones, Mr. P.R. Murray, I often have that problem at my age, Francis White, for Charlie Shakespeare and his team who run this festival, Paul, our techie tonight, you've done a brilliant job. Love to you all. We'll be back when we're back. Thank you for coming tonight.